What's the build-up like for a national championship type game?
I'm trying to think about how to answer this, because how can something both be different but the same, right? Like, because it is a bigger setting and you know that there's more on the line. So to act like it's completely the same, I think would be disingenuous. But in the same hand, like in the actual run up to the game, it didn't feel terribly different. The team was loose. Everybody was bought into the game plan. Like it was like everything else every other week that you had done that entire year. So I don't know. I also don't know how much relevance though there is between anything with the era of football and the team that I played on and this team this year. Not just because the game of football has changed in the decade since that 2011 team, but this team is so much different. And even how not just on the field, which obviously schematically and offensively, it's not even close. Go read Andy Staples' write-up in The Athletic today where he talked to opposing coaches that have faced LSU this year. And these quotes are anonymous, but the quotes are incredible, and it shows you just how singular and wild and special this LSU offense is. So there's not a lot of relevance there, but even off the field, the philosophy of someone like Miles Orgeron is totally different. We treated those weeks like an opportunity to have like a second camp, like scrimmages, like full padded, like knockdown, drag out practices. Orgeron has been painfully clear that they are doing the polar opposite. He knows what he has. They are trying to keep guys as fresh as possible, so they're as explosive on game day as possible. And then the final thing is, with this year's LSU team, everything goes back to leadership. That's why I haven't been worried about them in sandwich games. That's why I haven't been worried about them on the road or anything, or locking in when they have to, is because they have great leadership and they are playing with supreme confidence. So I don't think national championship run up. I don't think anything phases this LSU team.
I guess for preparation goes, LSU's not leaving for the game until Friday. So as far as distractions are concerned, LSU should be pretty limited when you talk about being able to spend the entire week of preparation at your facility, at your home. You bus down there with about a 50-minute bus ride to New Orleans, an area and a part of the city that you're very familiar with. You got a lot of people on the roster from that town. So I think from that standpoint, it's as good as can be from LSU's standpoint, because they find themselves in the national championship game once again when New Orleans is the host city, which is wild to
do you have any fear? It's something that I talked about with a couple of my neighbors yesterday. Did it feel like a bad omen, the Saints losing that game yesterday?
A little bit, because of the similarity of 2011, right? Because of what I was just talking about, how confident South Louisiana football fans were, specifically at this time of the year, with you guys heading into a national championship, playing so well, and that Saints team that season. Yeah. That may have been Peyton and Breeze's best group, 2011. The group that got knocked out in San Francisco in the divisional round. That might have been their best team. They lose at the end in San Francisco. You have the feeling of LSU being the heavy favorite. They've yet to play a game offensively where they've really kind of been, man, what happened? Like what's going wrong? So yes, and like you said, I mean, they're heavy favorites, and the confidence of the fan base is at an all-time high. I mean, I said it last Monday, and I still believe it. I thought yesterday it soured it a little bit with the way that game turned out. But you've got one game in New Orleans with Joe Burrow as LSU's quarterback to win a national championship. It would be tough to bet against them at this point. It would be tough to go against them just because of all the elements that come into play. But look, man, Clemson, I've listened to a little bit of Clemson's podcast and read some of the Clemson media that's coming out from some of the stuff that they're saying. They feel as confident and high as LSU fans do.
Well, why wouldn't they? I mean, they're playing this game for the fourth time
since
last
they lost
5
a game?
years. Yeah. They've won 29 in a row, whatever. I'll say this. I think my natural instinct was to feel like it's a bad omen. But I think that is born of fear more than logic, right? That is born of the kind of expectation that all things you love will eventually crumble. I don't think this LSU team will crumble, okay? And I don't think that anything that happened yesterday, obviously in any realistic sense, but even in a more superstitious sense, nothing applies to this LSU team. Like I said, that is a thought born of fear. This LSU team is unafraid. They don't care who they're squaring up with. They know they're the best. They tell you they're the best. They go out there and they play like they're the best. They're going to do that again next Monday.